What up, what up, what up, what up?
Hey, hey.
Hey, how we doing, guys? It is another episode of Lunch Talk. Once again, I'm here to entertain and I don't know. It's November 11th, the year of our Lord, 2021. A very special day. Krista?
Yes. It's America's Day. I mean, it's our servicemen and heroes. Such a good day. One of my favorites.
Yeah. So it's been exciting to get prepped for this. And of course, if you guys haven't already figured out, Kristen and I are both absolute fans of this country.
Oh man, Rigo, I love America like I love my last name.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
I love America. I love America the way that I love my children. And I feel fierce and I feel protective and I feel deeply rooted in American values and virtues. And I love our country. And I know you feel the same way.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know my story and you know about my family and, you know, every one of us have one. And that's one of the things that makes this country amazing is its long history of so many different types of families and culture that have brought us to this point. So anyways, listen, I'm going to just knock out a couple of the basics. If this is your first time here on Lunch Talk, do us a favor, let us know, tell us that you're here and drop a hashtag live. The way that we want to connect with you is we have a program called Community. It's a simple text function and we let you know when we go live because we stream here to LinkedIn. We do our Facebook page for the time being for those of our friends that are still stubborn and are not trying to get over to LinkedIn where they need to be. And then for those of you that just are out of touch completely, we do drop it on YouTube. Because if you don't have YouTube, then you are hopeless.
Yeah.
At this point. So, but as we talk about this great country, one of the things that you and I both love about what it is that we're doing is the ability to create. So as an entrepreneur and to be able to go out and solve problems and create for ourselves our own financial security and destiny, and nothing is in our way. I mean, there are challenges constantly, but there is no better country in the world to bring a business to fruition. And everybody knows that. And it's one of the things why people come here. And it's something I'm proud of. And with that, that's what I'm so excited about today is to introduce what I call, and you know, we like to call it a power couple. Yeah. We're going to be introducing Buddy and Nikki Cummings on, who have been working together for some time. I'm going to let them share a little bit of their own story, but I'm excited to hear about how they, as a married couple. So I work with my wife. I know, Krista, your husband's he's in the back, right? He's letting you do his thing. We talked about that, right? But working with your spouse can be very difficult, but just in a short conversation I've had with Buddy, it was exciting to hear about the things that they've done and the dynamics and how they work together. So without further ado, Donnie, why don't you go ahead and give them a round of applause. Let's introduce Niki and Buddy Cummings.
Woo! Hello,
guys.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good to be here.
I seen Buddy said, forget it. I'm gonna drop the cell phone and I'm just gonna run over and sit next to Nikki.
It's a little bit of an IT issue. We felt like we were trying to teach our grandparents how to use, with all due respect, but how to use the system. But you know what? We're here. That's all that matters.
Hey, that's exactly right. You know, look at if you go back and look at some of the other podcasts that we've done, and Donnie really pointed this out. He's funny. He goes, you know, Dad, when we do another show on YouTube called ATF, and I first started off with a cigar, a glass of whiskey, and a cell phone, and I was sitting on my porch, and I was just going live on Facebook like, okay, if anybody wants to come talk to me, you can come talk to me.
It was literally hangout time with Rigo. Like, if you just were a fly on a wall in Rigo's house, you were in.
Yeah, that was it. And I mean, sometimes people would show up, and then before you know it, I mean, we'd have parties. One show went 4 hours long.
Was that during
because everybody just started coming in, and we were laughing and telling jokes. And before you know, bottles of wine got opened. I mean, and I had an evening with friends, and it was all live. And I was like, "Holy mackerel! It's 4 hours later."
Yep.
Awesome.
It sounds like you guys are real and having fun doing it.
Oh, that's exactly it. And that's the whole goal, is wanting to be authentic and bring something of value to our audience. So we're happy that you guys are here. Thank you again very much for joining. And so as we're kind of getting into different topics, you know, Krista and I, and if you guys, I know this is still new to everybody as we're getting to know each other, but Krista Moreland is my co-host, and what I love about what we're doing and what she's passionate about as well is the authenticity of getting to the root of people, of humans, and helping us as a humanity become better all around. So is with her focus. So Krista, you know, you're a health and fitness person. Share a little bit about who you are to our audience and to the Cummings.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the most underserved populations in the world are mamas, right? Mamas work their butts off. They manage all the things, a million spinning plates. And in an effort to be a good mom, we end up putting ourselves on the way back burner. And the really unfortunate part about that is, although we want to show up and serve our families intensely and to guide them and lead them to do better, know better, and be better in their future, we're actually teaching them how to put themselves on the back burner. And now we're in this cycle of not taking care of ourselves. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to be around for as long as humanly possible to watch those babies that I spent so much time and energy raising and making them, you know, functional people of society, rock it out. And if I'm unhealthy or sick or broken and can't find joy and love in my world because I never took care of myself, then it's all for nothing. So I want to teach mamas how to step up, how to write their names down first and show up for that family that they pour into each and every day. And so that's where my heart is. That's where my passion is. And my vehicle into that world is through nutrition, because we have to eat multiple times a day. It's the only thing, y'all. If you think about it, it's the only thing you must do for the rest of your life. And that is to eat. And so if I can pop into their world in nutrition, I can open up a whole level of awareness and a life that they never even knew was sitting right there before them. So that's where my heart is. That's how I show up and serve my community. And I love doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Rigo.
That's why I love Krista. And more than anything else, it's her passion and fire behind that. Like, it's fun listening to her. And I give her crap about this all the time, but to hear somebody talk so passionately about food,
I know.
I'm like, okay.
I know.
Now
I'm a little extra for some people.
And that's fine. You put me in front of a good bottle of bourbon, and you're gonna see the same type of energy. I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, the flavors. We were joking about this the other night. I'm really bad at describing. I'm like, it's really good.
Yeah. And then I'm going to sit down with you, Rigo, and I'm going to be like, so here's what's happening inside your body every time you sip on that.
Yeah, we're good.
Listen, sometimes you want to, and sometimes you don't. And so, you know,
I get it.
Forever.
So, you know, Buddy, I reached out to you because I seen your presence on LinkedIn, and I'd actually got your name from a couple different folks that I knew and know and work with. And they said, you know what, I really love what you're doing, Rigo. You would probably really connect well with a guy named Buddy Cummings. And I was like, you know, and then they kind of reminded me who you were and where you came from. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm real familiar with the company. But funny enough, I never got to a position or a place where I would actually have gotten to meet or know you. And I was like, absolutely. So I reached out. I started watching your content a little bit, and I was like, man, this guy's got that same passion and fire, and I love that. And then you were like, hey, man, my wife, she's doing it too, man. You got to check out Niki. And I started looking at her page, and I was like, I would love to be able to have this couple on.
Yeah.
And this is why. You see, in our community right now, out there in the industry, there is a need for leadership, and there's a need for mentorship. And so one of the things that I'm struggling with is that when I'm working with our clients, in the past, as I came in as a consultant, leaving, from a corporate side, but staying in our same industry, the thing that was really hurting was that I was seeing the need for like an improvement that needed to happen. I could see a problem within the leadership, or I could see a problem within the dynamic. And it was like, if I could help somebody fix that, that's really where the problem is. It's not an issue of sales, or it's not an issue of most of the times companies will think that their surface problem is what is the issue. When they fix that, that's going to be it. Yeah. It's just like in our marriages, and you guys get this, that the surface issue is not the issue. There's a deep rooted problem. And what I started to recognize was it was mentorship. It was leadership. It was guidance. It was the fact that we're moving at such, Erica says sweet baby rays. Yeah, she caught the sweet baby rays, but you don't get anything from it. But the thing is that what I was starting to recognize was that I had this privilege of being able to be in the right place with mentors and leaders that help me become better version of myself and instill in me a need and a hunger to seek that same type of leadership and mentorship into my own life. So I've continued, and I look forward to the future of my life, but many others don't. So the reason why we're doing the show, and the reason why we have you guys here today, and I really want, Buddy, you spoke to me about this, and Nikki, I'm really excited to hear a little bit about you, but this is going into goals, habits, and building a positive company culture. And one of the things, we put out a poll, it's still running, but right now, it's just massively coming in regards to company culture. And this has been on my heart. I know that this is what's affecting people right now in the environments they're in. So, with that, I just want to give the floor to you guys. Buddy, Nikki, introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your story.
I would love to, but I want to take a step back. Rigo, I want to say thank you for inviting us. I mean, you stepping out, stepping up, using your voice as a platform for good. I mean, because there's so many routes to success, and you're like, you know what, my route is going to be through lifting others up, and having the guts to stand out, because I know on social media it is like a firing range and the wrong side of it, right? Yeah. It's a vulnerable place, man, but you're doing it, and I'm proud of you for that. And
thanks, I appreciate
Krista, I do my hats off to you, sister, because I see that, and I love that's what the downside of social media is that it can be scary and people are mean, but it's also the good side is, man, I love to hear your voice and your true authenticity of like, I'm a mom. Yeah. I care about food, and I'm going to get you in a place to be a better version of yourself, which, in the normal day-to-day business, we don't really get, I probably would not have learned that about you. And it's intimidating to share that to me in a conversation. So having been working with my wife, I've seen what women can do for decades. And I'm like, this time and space in our world where women are like, yeah, no, I'm not you, man. I'm me. And a lot of sense, I'm better. Consistently get it done. And we're so emotional.
He said it.
Yeah. With you, Rigo, I'm like, let's drink bourbon and smoke cigars and talk about it.
I get it. Listen, I called Nikki. I called Krista, and I said, Krista, I need you. Like,
right?
Right? Would you be on the show with me? Like, I need your energy, and I need that female presence here, because the reality is the two types. And this is what I love about seeing couples that have been successful, because when they figure out how to inspire, drive, push, challenge, help each other grow, like, they're unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Mm-hmm. They're unstoppable. It's something that it still inspires me and my wife. I just got to stop giving her kids, and then she can actually, like, so we have 6 children, Buddy. So, our oldest is 22 and our youngest is 3. So
I'm pretty sure Michelle told me yesterday she's been changing diapers for 20 years. I was like, Michelle.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. I've done nothing well for 20 years, and you've changed diapers really well for 20 years.
Yeah. It's so, but anyways, it's just, it's powerful. So thank you very much, Buddy. I appreciate the compliment. And again, thanks for being here. So yeah, share a little bit about you guys.
And a great lead in too, because I think when asked to, and I respect and appreciate the invitation, it was like, man, it would be I feel like an imposter not bringing my wife on and talking about the success in which we experienced, and the hard way at that. So I don't want to over fantasize that, but we always say a client told us years ago, I get us in the mess and Niki gets us out, right? And it's like I'm ready to charge the mountain and change the world. But after that, I'm kind of out of ideas.
He'll watch this later and know exactly that we're talking about him.
Right. But I mean, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. So I always joke that, Buddy and Niki together make like one complete person, right? And so without each other, we're lacking, and, together we complete each other. So, but it has been messy. It hasn't always been easy, and we haven't always made it look good. And one thing about Buddy and I, we're really authentic. So that's really good, but you also see the good and the bad with that. So to our staff and our team, many companies, over, they know what we're talking about. But we are entrepreneurs. We both started our first businesses in high school. We didn't know each other in high school, but we were, entrepreneurs from the start. We both are college dropouts, and it worked for us. We're not saying we recommend it, but it worked for us.
Hey, Rigo, I went to junior college for 8 years and didn't get my AA. Okay, so that's kind of there was no camera, but I was drinking a lot of bourbon and smoking cigars. I was doing a podcast without the camera.
His dad.
Yeah. I get it. You were doing a private podcast.
He was doing. Yeah. We call that market research.
There it is. Market research.
His dad would say, Buddy, a lot of people go to school for 8 years. They're called doctors.
Yes.
But it worked out for us, and so but Buddy's our visionary. He is our, dreamer. I'm a dreamer too, but he's the one who says, he's the gambler, right? He's the risk taker. He's the one that sees something and says, I'll charge that mountain. And I'm like, well, we don't know how to charge that mountain.
And he's like, we'll just charge it. We'll figure it out on the way up.
I'm like, we're like barefooted. Yep. We don't have a jacket. What if it gets cold? And he's like, well, who cares? We'll find a way to win. And we do. And so, Buddy tells us where we're going. And then, historically, I've found a way to get us there with an incredible team.
Yeah. No, and so you guys ran this business, the last business you guys ran and owned. How long did you have that company now?
We started Whirlwind in 2007. And so we owned it exclusively. We had some, small partners, but we were owners and operators for 10 years. And then we joined forces with a private equity company and sold, and then stayed on and helped manage the operations of that company, Whirlwind, for another 2 years. And then sailed off to the Gulf.
And now you're in Florida doing live chats with the water behind, trying to be like, rah, look around.
Congratulations. I want to start with some vulnerability in the beginning, the first job that Whirlwind has ever had. And that was because we grew up in Tehachapi, and a lot of the guys.
The birthplace of the wind industry in North America. You guys know it.
Yes. And a lot of the friends that we grew up with went into work with these manufacturing companies, and the industry grew so fast. They became, having executives, and they said, man, if you can bring out a couple guys to torque some bolts on a tower, we can put them to work. And at that time, we knew nothing about a wind turbine, electricity. To this day, I still the megawatt and a gigawatt,
kumquat to a kilowatt.
I'm not the guy, but I love finding their teams and finding the niche.
But solving a problem.
I love it. So we get out there and we find some friends, and we put them out there, and they're barely spoken English. And the customer comes around and says, "What are you doing out there? You're supposed to be on the inside, or you're supposed to be on the outside." We didn't even know what we were doing.
We were torquing the wrong side of the turbine.
Yes, and it was one of those things like, and that to me is the reality of business. Now, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we were passionate and we never gave up. And we realized that first job that our niche was going to be yes, sir, no, sir. And we would hustle and everything that we did. And even though we knew nothing about the industry or the turbine, we realized that, man, it was kind of a cold at that time, a very unionized environment where there was not a lot of humility, if you will. And that's where it was, we got the customer next to us and the customer next to us. And it was all about service. And that's where we landed on eventually years later is our mission statement is here to serve. right? Awesome. And to be honest with you, at the end of the day, I don't care what we're doing. That is how we have found success on that's all we know how to do. We're not, I'll speak for myself. I'm not the smartest guy in any room, but I love to serve, and I love to find people who love to serve with me.
Well, that's actually a powerful statement here. And I kind of want to lead off that real quick, because one of the things that I recognized in this story that you're telling is simply this, is that you're looking at ways to ensure that the customer is getting their problem solved. You weren't so concerned about the method or the avenue of how it was going to get there. It was, if it was going to, in the end, you were able to execute helping the customer. That's what mattered. And that is going to, it has to be a part of how things were happening, because you wouldn't have been able to have the levels of success that you've had without it. But the thing that I find very, very interesting, so nearly 14 years, right, with this business. Tell me about what you guys did together when it came to company culture, because so many folks out there have such great things to say about you guys that you guys left impacts. So talk to me about how you created the dynamic and what did you learn? Because here's what I want to learn. I want to hear, and I want our audience to hear what you did wrong and how you found the solution for it.
And that's a great question, because honestly, at the end of the day, Rigo, I feel like it was divine. Talking about culture is my passion in life, because like I said, I'm never truly the technical expert in anything, but I love people. I love them, and the ability to connect with them, give them hope, give them opportunity, show them progressing personally and professionally. So that's what I've been focusing on, even in the last year or so since we've stepped back from the day-to-day, was how do I convey that in a simple way to other entrepreneurs so they can find that success. And to me, it came down to three things, honestly, as simple and as raw as I could get it. And first thing is you got to, fortunately, you got to start with yourself, right? Yeah. And as a business owner, if you're not showing up in a place and space to lead your company, your culture, it doesn't have a chance, right? You have to be optimistic to share optimism. You know what I mean? You have to be excited to get them excited. So I step into that role of how, as an entrepreneur, how do you get excited, become the Indiana Jones, if you will, because man, yes, everyone's trying to attack us and we're always trying to get beat up, but it's your perspective on it. And if you can just, you're looking for the golden head in the temple, and we got to figure out how not to get hit by the spears and get bit by the snakes, right? And love every second of it. That's a culture, right? And that's the beginning of it.
And I would add, and I'm going to tell you, Rigo, where I went wrong. I will share an example of where I totally blew it and learned from what not to do by what I did do. But Buddy, the company that he started, that I started working with him when we first started dating, was a call center. And every single day, it was a high school sports fundraising company, but it was, all of our sales were generated from an outbound call center, cold calling with a manual dialer. Okay. And every single day we started at 0. And we had 30 people, give or take, of salespeople. And every single day we had to motivate each other to get up and get on the phone, make the calls, and raise money for schools. And so we realized, like, the product was not what we were selling. Our people were our product. And I don't care what you create. If you make this, or, this Fiesta ware in American pottery, love it. If you make that, if you have one employee, then people are your product. You are in the people business.
That's right.
And so working with Buddy at the call center and having to motivate our team to work hard and be motivated, I realized, like, if you fall in love with your people, everything else will fall in place.
I love that.
Oh, Krista, come on. You gotta have some. Yeah. I was I'm seeing you like bounce, I'm like, come on.
Yes. Listen, you are speaking to my soul. I mean, you are pouring into my soul right now. And I'm a 2-sport college athlete. Okay. And so here's the thing. The greatest coaches that I ever had were not the ones that told me what I was doing wrong. They were not the ones that pointed out where I had failed. Because listen, I am my own worst critic. I don't need somebody to tell me where I am sucking wind. I need somebody to come alongside me and say, girl, you got this. You are worthy. You are good. You are strong. You are these things. And if somebody comes alongside me, watch out, watch me go and get after it. Right? Look out. And that is how most people want to be led. That is setting the temperature, the thermostat in the home. And listen, we all know where we fall short. Some of us don't, but they need a whole lot of different.
Some of us don't fall short. Is that what you're saying? Some of us are perfect.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
We got it all figured out.
Exactly. But here's a really beautiful thing about what you just said. This doesn't just work when you are doing fundraising. It works when you are talking to moms. It works when you are talking to multi-million-dollar companies. It works when you're talking to the 3 little brains in your house. If you can be that hope giver, if you can be that inspiration, if you can be that little high five pat on the back, people will run mountains for you. They will bust through any roadblock for you. And so I think that's a lot of times a very old school way of coaching and motivating and getting people to do what you want them to do is to beat them up, is to kind of like talk down. The reverse psychology thing, it doesn't work anymore. It's actually, all it does is hold people back. And if they do succeed, it's success in a way that does not serve them. It does not bring them joy. It does not bring them worthiness. It does not bring them clarity. And I don't know about you guys, but if I'm going to help somebody find success, I want them to find it with joy, with worthiness, with acceptance, with self-awareness and love and understanding. And something that Buddy said that is so true is that if you want to be a good leader, it starts with you. We have to do our own internal work. If we are broken, we will lead from a broken space. And that only creates other broken people.
You got it. And to the point of, and being honest, like there was what I did wrong. It was showing up for years, hungover and expecting the business to take me to where I wanted to go. Right. I was thinking, hey, we're paying a bunch of people. They should be motivated. We got a business. It should take us. We're entrepreneurs. Let it do what it does and let us hold on for the ride. But to your point, man, you are driving the business.
But Buddy, get into that a little bit. And Nikki, I want to know from your perspective when he's done. Tell me about how you came in with the wrong attitude, right? So if we did a,
you got
we were working. So we were, oh God. So, hold on before I get into this, right? Squirrel, real quick. One of the things that's funny and I'm not shocked. So you guys were in Tehachapi. I was in the high desert. I was over in Victorville. So I wasn't far, right? Grew up in Los Angeles, moved up to the high desert. We used to go through in and out all the time. So those of us who grew up in these weird central areas of California, these desert, mountain-ish weird spots, you guys get it. We're all a little weird. We're a little weird, right? We're close enough to the coast to get in trouble, close enough to Vegas to get in trouble. We go hide out and, in some trees or rocks. And I'm just saying, it's always funny when somebody I meet is, what was that, Nikki?
I said, we've done all those things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you get it, right? You're like, you party all night, it's 2 a.m. You're like, I'm hungry. Let's go to Circus. I don't know how many times I've done. Let's go to Mandalay Bay and like drive 3 hours, or let's go to State Line. But anyways, all right. I'm gonna get into something serious. Okay. All right. No. So this is really what I want to hear. You said some things that I think are pretty powerful, and you made some comments of how you thought the team needed to respond to you. How you would show up with an expectation, because this is my business. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got the stress. And unless you know what that's like, it's hard to explain. You can't explain it. That pressure and that feeling of building something especially when you don't know what to do and you're trying to find help. And sometimes they get it, or you finally see a place where you can go reach out for help and you're like, yeah, but you're not in my space and you're not helping me. Right? If I was selling real estate, maybe, right? Maybe if I was doing this, because we've been through those struggles. Chris and I both, we understand that. And I know you guys went through it. The other week we had John Gibson on, who is a long-term, he's been in high-level, C-level corporate management in our industry for some time. And he said something really powerful. And he said, you know, it was when he recognized that it wasn't about him, was when his career took off. When he recognized that it was about his team is when he really started to grow, mature, and started impacting. And it was done through mentorship into his life. So what was the point for you, Buddy, when you recognized that your behavior or attitude of saying, this is how I'm going to show up and you're expected to behave this way because I'm the one taking on the stress? When did that switch, and how, you know, what was the thing that transpired for you to be able to create a culture that has brought you to a place today? And then Niki, I want to know from you, from his wife, from a business partner who's trying to help him be, and you see the best of who he is, you're also under the same type of stress, but you're recognizing maybe this isn't the best approach, you know? And what was that like from your end? Because I really want to know the dynamics from a husband, wife, and from partners as business partners.
So to be honest with you, for me, it was, and I'll take one step back. I played to my strengths. I am not the smartest guy in the room. So I never felt that need to always have to come up with the answers. I appreciated quickly, like, man, I got to try. And I know this sounds cliche, but I have to surround myself with somebody who knows how to do what we need to get done, and then just empower them, provide them vision of where we're going. Gosh, and it wasn't the second I made it about me. It was like I showed my hands and I had nothing. Right? So I had to like get them excited about something else. I had to find good people that were gonna get us where we need to go, give them runway, right? And so it was like that realization quickly of like the dumber I was, the more honest I was about how not smart I was. It just becomes, that's where people, they don't expect me to be smart. When you hire smart people, they're like, just give me some resources, give me the tools, give me some runway, and show me where we're going and how we're going to get there. And so that was always my foundation. So play to your strengths. I wasn't the smartest guy, and I knew that, so I played to that. But the true launching pad for us as an organization is when I just got sick of being stagnant. I was at that place, $3 to $5 million for years. And I got to that point, and that's where the influences in my life of like, what's holding you in this box? And I realized, like, man, I don't know. And I honestly, I didn't really have a plan on where we could go. I didn't really write down and map out and think what was possible. And so, and even I'll take that a few years later until we almost lost everything. And I'm talking everything. Our industry, as you know, it shifts, and the tax credit had expired, and we saw it coming a mile away. And it was like, we're either going to take our money and get out, or we're going to go all in. And we decided, hey, we're going to retreat forward. We're pushing all in. And we knew we only had a little bit of money. So that mediocrity of time and luxury of just kind of floating by was gone. And like, man, we got to get that. We either going to, because we risked it all and everything we had, and we then had to borrow to even continue to try to fight another day. And that was, I think, the true clarity of like, okay, buddy, step up, lead the people, give them hope, give them vision. Don't make this about you. Get them excited. Here we go. Get less about the tactical step of what the actual tactical thing we're needing to do, and just inspire the heck out of them, right? And communicate clearly every day, like, guys, this is where we are today. This is where we need to be more. And so it's going from that technical, caring about what the technical issue was, and just getting crystal clear on where we're going and pumping them up to get there,
Awesome.
But I want to interject, because I feel like, had we not been so in love with our people prior to 2013 happening, like, I feel like people would have jumped ship, right? And we had zero turnover of people who left during that season when we had no sales, and we were working. Like, that's when we saw who our army was. Yeah. That's when we realized, like, you were talking about people running up mountains. My team knew I would move mountains for them. And that's when they moved mountains for us. And it was like the most alive that we've ever felt, or me professionally in my life, was when everything was on the line. We were about to lose it all. And our family, our team rallied around us and fought for that business because it was their business.
Yeah.
Not just Buddy Nikki.
Yeah, with the buy-in.
It's incredible.
They felt buy-in to what you guys were doing. And that's like any good team, when they feel like they are a part of the success and they feel like they're a part of the vision, that buy-in is there, and they'll stay to the bitter end or to the successful end with you. Right. And that's so powerful. And that is created by showing up each and every day and being the cheerleader when you need to be the cheerleader, being the vision maker when you need to be the vision maker. And I think something that you highlighted on is that we have this preconceived idea of what a business owner looks like. And it's very regimented, and it's very, I do this, I do that.
Like me, just like this. Yes. Just like this.
Yes. And the truth is that a good business owner and a good leader makes it not about themselves. And when you make it not about yourself, but about your people, you learn how to ebb and flow. You learn how to, we talked about this last week, Rigo, you learn how to shivot, which is shift and pivot for your people.
Hey, I dropped the hashtag shivot in a post yesterday. Just throwing it out there.
And that's the magic of being intuitive and in what your business and your company and your people need, is knowing when they need the pat on the back, knowing when they need the kick in the pants, knowing when they need a soft voice, and when they need you to bring the fire, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't know how to do that for yourself, you won't know how to do it for anybody else. And so I love what you just said, Buddy and Nikki, so good. And I love that you got to see that return, that you got to see them hold the line with you and stay in the fight with you, and then look at the side that you brought them to.
And really, they're still some of our best friends to this day, even a couple years later, like they're still our people. And I want to say, Buddy always, jokes like, oh, I wanted to be the dumbest person in the room, or but he just doesn't have an ego. Right. And that is one thing, like I have more of an ego and like more, like insecurity of needing to feel like I'm the hardest worker in the room. And Buddy is like, he's not afraid to share the glory, give away the glory, like hire people that are smarter than him. And I think that is an evolved, very mature leader to say, I don't need to be in the spotlight. In fact, I would rather sit back at the boardroom table and look around, I say at the badassery, excuse me, I don't know if we're allowed to use that word here, but in the room and be in awe of the team that I've built, not the man that I am, and so you've always been really good at that. You're welcome.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. And just, I'm watching, Buddy's like so pumped when you talk. Like,
he's like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I'll hug you later.
I'm just watching. You guys are cute. I'm just gonna say, you guys are. You guys are cute. So, Donnie, on the mixer over there.
I like that.
Yeah, Donald does a great job, by the way. He doesn't get airtime here on this show, but yeah, my director producer, Donald Murillo, one of my sons, runs this entire program. So he does a great job. Yeah, he does a good job. But it's fun watching your dynamic, number one. And we're in a great environment. This same passion of watching you guys be excited about something just out of experience probably means the disagreements are just as passionate. Right? Am I wrong or
that we might have ripped some doors off the hinges?
Okay, all right. How do you transfer that energy into a team when, first off, I'm seeing the dynamic really well, and I'm seeing a visionary, because that's what a CEO really needs to be, right? And needs to be that type of a person. And you look at, in sense, Nikki, I don't know what your position was, but it's what I see is like a COO, right? Mm-hmm. So your CEO and all your C's and B's, whatever, all of this stuff, I understand why they exist, but in general, it's the personality of who we are. The visionary, the person that's trying to reach the goal, because it's the goal. The challenge isn't the money. The challenge is the growth, right? It's about, how do I achieve that? When you get stagnant, it wasn't the money. It was, we're not growing. So I'm not doing something right, because money is the metrics. See, that's one of the things I notice about money. People look at it incorrectly. Money's your metrics.
Money's your scoreboard. I got that from
it's your metric. That's exactly right. It's your scoreboard. You want to know, when somebody tries to get into a conversation and I see somebody belittling somebody else, I go, well, why don't we look at the scoreboard, like you said, Buddy? Right. right? Let's look at the scoreboard and see where you guys are at. It's the metrics. It doesn't make you better then, but it's the metrics to know if you're doing it right. Mm-hmm. And so where people get hung up on is, well, but that's not the way it should be, or that's not the way I learned it. That's not how I got my MBA, or that's not how we did it here. Yeah. It doesn't matter. The consumer is all that matters. Yeah. The team is how you're going to get there. Yeah. And you need to be willing to change the process as many times as need be to get you to the goal that you're trying to reach. That's the metrics that's going to tell you if you're successful or not. So when you are working with your team and you're learning how to build these habits because you're learning them yourself, how did you instill in your team habits that were going to allow them to reach their levels of success in their life?
I'll go back to your first question on how is it, because it's a very real question that you ask. How do you work with your wife in an environment with hundreds of employees and we're trying so hard to be professional and whatnot, but because it's a very vulnerable answer. The reality of it is they know we're passionate, because that, I promise you'll see that good and bad. They'll also know that
you don't get hot or cold when you're passionate all around.
Totally.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so all the way.
It just becomes part of it, like life, and it's messy, and we never hid that, right? It was
from our executive team. I mean, clearly,
right.
With our executive team, we're like, this is the inner circle. They saw all of us.
Yeah.
We always were respectful, but I mean, we had our moments.
And back to what you guys are doing, and Krista, I really heard it, just being true and authentic to yourself and let the cards fall where they may in the world, right? And it was like, and it became even an adopted part of our culture as well. As, man, Buddy's going to get excited about taking over the world. Nikki's going to ask you, where's your manager, your expense report? Yeah. Where is your metric?
My nickname at the company was # is it in the budget? That's what the executive team made me. Is it in the budget?
But at least they knew where you stood, right, Nikki?
We're going to make this beautiful. I said, well, can we afford it? But you have to have the balance.
That's funny. My wife would say the same thing. I'm like, I'll just go get another cell. She's like, it doesn't work like that.
You're right.
I'm like, I'll just go get another customer. We're fine.
Right. That was my thing. Sell more.
Sell more. Right. I like it. I want it.
But again, I think it's going back to just be yourself in whatever it looks like in the place and space. I think everyone can appreciate a husband and wife struggling through a passionate moment. And I think we try to hide too much. I think we try to be somebody else. I think and it wasn't until, honestly, for the first 5-7 years, we were terrified of people to know that we were a husband and wife company.
Really?
We
were in this big, industry.
I get it. I get it.
We didn't want to be the mom and pop shop and have people see us as small.
The world, though, and I'm so grateful for the world changing. Yeah. In that respect, like I'm so, I got to tell you the story because this is important to me. That statement right there you made, Nikki, is huge. Not too long back, I'm getting ready to, we've got, as an entrepreneur, you're always coming up with new ideas, right? Because you see stuff all the time. And you're like, I have so many companies I've wanted to start. And I'm like, I don't have any time. Like, I'm thinking there's 2 of them just sitting.
Yeah.
Waiting to make me rich. Right. And I just got to get them done. We were sitting down with, a VC had seen what we were doing and wanted to talk to us. And I was going to go down and my son is with me, Donald. And he's been a part of this for the last few years. My daughter as well are part of our company because they love what we're doing. They're inspired by it. They want to be a part of it. And I did the same, kind of kept them in the background, didn't really say much. And I remember it was, as I was heading down to this meeting, we're driving down, I'm watching my son next to me and he's got his laptop open and he's collecting the notes. And because we're going to meet up with another customer too. And I'm talking through all this process. We're going to get in, we're going to have the meeting, and he's writing it all down for me, and he's all engaged, and he hasn't found his place yet with the company at this time, but he's not saying no to anything. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't fit, he's like, I'm whatever I got to do to support. And I looked at him, and I thought about this, and I said, if I'm building this business for my family, to teach my children entrepreneurship, and I am afraid to walk in with my son, who's 18 at the time, and I'm not willing to expose him to this environment. I am failing and then there's no purpose of doing this. Because if my children want to be a part of this and I'm not giving them the opportunity, if my family, if my wife, if this is a family business, if someone else has a problem with it, that's their problem, not mine.
Right.
And if they don't want to work with me because I have family in my business, bye-bye.
Yeah. You know, and Rigo, something that I think, and Buddy and Nikki, you know, our business becomes our like immediate family. We can treat it like a family, right? And I'm not calling our employees or anything like that our children, but the truth is that a healthy family and a healthy marriage, you show how to fight fair. You show how to have a disagreement, and you do it in front of your kids so that they can see when they have conflict as they get older. This is how we can be passionate about something, still respect each other, and get to the other side of an answer and agreement so that we can move forward. I have a lot of friends, specifically one in mind, whose parents never fought in front of her. So when she got married and there was a conflict in her new marriage, she had no idea how to do this. And it's the same thing in our businesses, right? Especially we need to be able to show our employees, we need to be able to show other people in front of us, like you can be passionate and I can be passionate, and we can both have an idea of how this is going to look. But we need to be able to fight fair and be passionate about it and come to an agreement and come to the other side of that, right? And so I love Niki and Buddy that is something that you don't hold back. Like, you show them what that looks like. You're modeling for them when they have an idea, when they feel passionate about something. How do they approach it with you? How do they approach it with each other? And then Rigo, you bringing Donnie into that situation where he's now a part of it and you're not hiding that. For me, if I'm looking for a coach and I can see that the family is passionate about something, I'm much more willing to take that journey with them, because I know there's more at stake than just this one person. Like, it's a family thing. And I know that he wants his family to win and succeed. For me, I'm much more willing to take that risk and to embark on that journey because it's a family affair. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm American to the core, and family is everything. So I'm in on something like that, right?
You know, what's crazy is here's what I learned through that particular moment. Donald got to sit and have dinner with a person that was, you know, he's a multimillionaire controlling a company with a couple $1 billion. And I walked out, I was like, you realize you just sat with a billionaire, right? And he was just chatting with you the whole time. And you know what I realized after that? It was the biggest lesson for me was it went incredible. It went incredible. The meeting was great. The experience was wonderful. I learned a ton. I realized I had a lot more work to do in regards to pitch decks to venture capitalists, but we were ready very well because of all the work my family had put in to make this happen and the people a part of this. But here was the crazy thing. It was my insecurity that I was bringing in prior that was going to be the problem, because the people on the other end had no issues with it. They saw the same thing you were talking about, Krista, is, wow, this guy is building something more important than what we think. It's bigger than him. And that's exactly it. If it's our employees, if it's our children, if it's our wife, if it's whatever it's going to be, if you're not authentic with why you're doing something, I don't care what you bring in the room, the consumer, the buyer, the investor, the partner, the employee, they're going to sense it and they're going to know you're full of period. Right? If you're not authentic in where you're at, there has to be passion in what you're doing. This is how culture is built, just like in a family dynamic. And I think one of the reasons that people like yourself, Buddy, Nikki, and others, why we can do so much is because we're authentic in who we are. You know, we had Jared Wallard on a couple of weeks back, and what I love about Jared is he's a great leader. I like him, and I have enjoyed having conversations together. Our personalities are completely different, and he's making impacts in the people in his life because he's authentic with who he is. Right? See, we make the mistake, I think, when we try to act like somebody else. I don't need to act like you, Buddy. Now, we have a lot of similarities in our personalities. Great. We're probably going to get along great. It doesn't mean we have to be each other. Right. And this is the mistake that I believe a lot of us are making, especially as we're hitting this place where we're like, oh, what do we do? I want to really create something bigger in myself and better. And I want to grow in my career. And so we try to emulate somebody else, and people can sense that unauthentic behavior because it's not who we are naturally. Right. right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be somebody that dresses up every day and I'm going to be in a suit and I want to look good. Hey, because if it makes you feel good, if that's who you are, if it inspires you, if it drives you, if it gets you going, then go do it. But if that's not who you are and you're putting yourself in a position where the surrounding culture in your life is not building you up, but it's actually making you insecure and it's pulling away from you your passion, then you're robbing yourself of something. And what happens is then you become poison in that environment. Right? I mean, am I hitting something? What did you guys see with the individuals that became that family, the ones that became those core people in your team? What did you see towards the end, like on the types of personalities that stuck around?
That's a good question. But I want to touch on one thing because Dave Reese said, can you be too open with your employees? So
great question.
Yes. So we had our executive team, we had our inner circle, right? And I always tell our clients now, like, be straight shooters with your company. Even if you're in a bad season, a difficult season, if you don't have all the answers, you need to let them know, but let them know where your heart is and where your commitment is. So I feel like you don't burden your employees. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. Oh my gosh, we might lose everything, right? You don't be so open with your employees that you burden them.
Right.
But you bring them into the fold and encourage their feedback and their collaboration. So just as much as Buddy and I are a family, the way that we treated our team, we had the same spirit of candor with our executive team as we have with each other. So we were very open with each other in front of our team, but that also welcomed an environment where our team was encouraged to be very open with us. And so I think that yes, there's a balance of you don't want to burden them and make them fearful, but we had a very open environment.
And there's a million different ways to run a business, but you know, like to Nikki's point, I think if my genuine reality is I care about more about you as a person than I do the business, and if I can clearly, and I feel that way, and now we're just going to battle for a vision, which is that next point we haven't really hit on yet, but it's just like if your company knows where you're going, why you're going there, and you have values where you surround yourself with these type of people that really resonate with who you are at the best version of yourself. So you become like, man, you lock arms with them like, man, business is one thing, but I care about you. I love you. I care about your work, your personal life more than your professional life. And that might throw a lot of people off. But in all reality, to me, it was like going to battle. Again, this was never a business. This was a passion. This is William Wallace fighting for freedom.
Yes. Oh, friend.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. He's the best.
We're the Braveheart for business, sister. Okay.
Yes. Listen, y'all, you're my people. I walked down the aisle to a Braveheart to the pipe. Oh,
good for you.
Yes. Braveheart is my man. But you're absolutely right. When I got into this industry to serve moms, I got into it because I was that mom who was broken, who was flustered, who had lost her identity. And my biggest reason, my why for stepping into this space and doing what I do is because I wanted to help mamas where I was and show them that there was something on the other side for them. And you guys, when you come out of business, when you serve people from a servant's heart and you really truly care about the cause, there's nothing stopping you. It opens up for you. You can take it where you want to go, and people believe you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to try to over communicate it. You don't have to try to be someone you're not. You just be who you are, because that is the energy that those people need to get to where they want to go. Right?
They believe you and they believe in you.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
They believe in you as well.
Yeah.
Well, touching on what you also were asking, Rigo, like I think this totally ties in is like to what you're saying, Krista, is Buddy and I got, we started out insecure about our role and dynamic, and then it ended up being like such a breath of fresh air to the industry. They loved us. They knew that we did have everything riding on it, and therefore we would give it all that we had.
Yeah.
But we also got to a point where Buddy always says to our clients, like, this isn't your dad's business, right? Like, you're building your business, your culture. You can read, there's so many good books out there, right? But like, you get to pick what your culture is. And Buddy says, it's our freak flag, and we fly it high. And so like talking with what Rigo said about like who was with us at the end, our people, our people. And it's like, oh, interview for this, interview for skill. No, you can train the skill.
Yes.
Okay. You cannot train the will.
That's
So
right. Whoa, say that again, Nikki. Hold on. Say that again, because that's excellent.
You can train the skill, but you cannot train the will, right? So we hired people who were like-minded. Like Buddy said, we always built our clubhouse. And so at the end, we were with our brothers and sisters in arms. That's what it was. And they still, like I said, they still are our family from both companies that we've built and you know, had exits, had sales from. It was, you know, us hiring like-minded people who wanted to run the race, who, you know, liked our freak flag, and that, you know, they bought into it, and we were a community.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I knew getting into this culture habit and what we're doing in this conversation was going to be a month-long conversation. It is about at the top of the hour, and I want to be observant. Yes, Dave, I absolutely agree. Dave Reese, very good friend and a longtime supporter of the program, listening in the UK right now. So yeah, we've got Paul sitting in Ireland. I seen him dropping stuff. We got Dave, and we got folks all over the place, all over California and everywhere else. I love it. So listen, I want to go ahead and extend this to you guys. There's a lot of stuff that I really wanted to get into, and I don't think we're going to be able to get into it as the hour's over. I want to go ahead and invite you guys to come back. First off, anytime you want to be a part of this, I would love to get into deeper conversation. But we're going to continue the series next Thursday. We're going to be doing it as well. We have another one of our guests, Steve, who's got a large entrepreneurial background, but also has come into a place of recognizing the importance of certain habits, health habits that dramatically affect the difference of success or not success, or dying or not dying. And it's something he's very passionate about. I can't wait to have Steve on next week as well. So anyways, I just want to put an open invitation to you guys to come back and be a part of the program next week or any other time, because I definitely want to get into more. You guys, we were just really getting into some amazing and I really want to dive deeper into it. But of course, again, like I said, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So excuse me, for those of you who are watching, again, we appreciate that you're here. If this is something that you like and you want to become a part of the community, do us a favor and drop a hashtag lunch to 316-799-8052. That goes right to our community app. It's not a spamware. It's not anything else. You'll get a little simple text back that says, hey, by the way, save this contact. But that's how you can always reach me. I answer the text messages, but more importantly, it's just for me to share stuff with you and get out information. As a little fun too, I just want to let you guys know, if you're into any sort of current memes, check out the Sweet Baby Rays. All right, start looking for it. We're going to do some giveaways the rest of the month and through December. For Christmas, we're doing $25 giveaways, gift cards to Starbucks. What? That's right. $25 gift cards to Amazon.
Oh, Donnie.
Oh, come on, Donnie. $25 gift cards to Grubhub. Yeah. So we're doing this to have some fun and to say thank you for all of our listeners out there. But here's the thing. We're going to be hiding that Sweet Baby Rays out in all of our posts and things like that. So we're just going to make it some fun as we get to the end of the year. So anyways, I hope you guys play along. First person to drop the hashtag Sweet Baby Rays and catches in any of our posts, we'll hit you up and we're going to get you one of these gift cards. So anyways, Buddy, Nikki, Cummings, thank you guys so much for being here. We'll give them a round of applause, Donnie. There we go. So I appreciate you guys so much. And from everybody here, Krista, is there any final words you want to leave our group with as before we get off? And I'm going to give Buddy, you and Nikki, I'm going to give you guys the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to let Niki and Buddy go ahead and
all right, drop it, guys.
Okay, so I did. There was 3 things I spent the last 2 years trying to hone it down. If you own a business, there's so many things that can take and steal your time or to get preoccupied with. I would just say these 3 things. Number 1 is get right with yourself. Start a morning routine. You can win your day before you leave your house. Yes. I'm telling you, focus on that. Secondly is that whole mission, vision, values, know where you're going, know how you're getting there, who you want to surround yourself with, right? Because then you'll start to understand in 3 years where you're going to be next year. Without that, you wander in the desert and waste a decade. I know I did. You can. Third thing is just to communicate weekly with intentionality. You think maybe you told everybody where they were going and what you stand for at a Christmas party. Every week, I did it on a cell phone. I shot a video and sent it out to everybody in the organization, 3 to 5 minutes. You call out people individually, collectively, talk about where you're going, what you stand for, because the more people are reinforced on why they have something to look forward to, what they're doing to me has value, and that they know their place in it, you become unstoppable. Okay. Self, strategy, and communicate like you never thought you should, and then 10 times more.
Yes. And with it being the end of the year, guys, I do say if you have, like I said, one person or more, you are in the people business. So take time, even if it was a great year, a banner year, or if you guys struggled this year and you're going to be shifting right in the new year, think about who gave you their all. Yeah. Right? Regardless of the year that you had, think about who grew, think about who excelled, think about who overcame something in their personal lives. Reflect on your people and take the time to connect with them one-on-one. Write a letter to their kid, their mom, them, whatever it is. Even if you don't have a budget for some big old Christmas party at some big event center, right? Like, let your team know that you see them and that they made a difference. And that will go, like, give them something that they can be proud of to take home to their families.
That's
so good. So good.
Oh,
Nikki
good.
and Buddy, this was incredible. I have been in a few different industries. One particular that I can think of that was a husband and wife situation. And it was very much not like what you guys have represented here today. And I am so encouraged. I love watching Buddy empower you. And I love the way that Buddy looks when you speak about him. That is just
or anything. Like she just talks and he's just like Googling. He's like Googling. Yeah, it's awesome.
And listen, that is a testament to everybody around you. You guys are modeling for people what it looks like to do big things and to keep each other at the center and to love on each other and to be good to each other. And so I just want to thank you for blessing us today with your energy and your words and your insights and perspectives. I've learned so much from you guys today that I am definitely going to be taking into the end of the year with my employees and doing those things with them as well. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you guys so much. All right, you guys out there watching, thank you for being here. Again, every Thursday, 1:00 p.m. Central Time, we're going to be dropping our lunch talks, and we're going to keep bringing information like this, and we're going to try to keep bringing you guys value. So grateful for the Cummings for being here. And again, Thanksgiving, we're going to be doing it Wednesday. So we'll try to put out some information, let you guys know, because I'm not going to be doing this show on Thanksgiving. But anyway,
God bless America. Thank you to our veterans.
Absolutely. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all of our veterans. Thank you for all who served and those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. I am grateful. My family's grateful. This country is grateful. Thank you very much. No matter what anybody tells you, we are grateful. And we're glad that you are the 1%. So you guys, Buddy, Nikki, hang on as we get ready to get out of here, and we'll talk to you guys in a minute. Take care. Talk to you soon.